Admitting people. By the way, can everyone hear me all right? Can you just give me thumbs up? Am I coming through clear? Wonderful. Thank you so much. Okay. Yeah, brand new year in front of us. And I've got a very healthy relationship to the fact that life is short. And I'm sure many of you do as well. Like, I don't know what the past few years have held for you, but some of you might have had a loved one who passed on, and that just wakes you up, doesn't it? That really tunes you into the fact that life is fragile, life is short. We do not have forever. But sometimes we can be tiptoeing through life, acting like we do have forever. Even though at those times, maybe it's a new year, maybe it's when a loved one moves on, passes on, maybe it's when we have a birthday. We have these moments where we look at our life and we're like, I'm going to take it to another level. And it all seems well and good, and we seem pretty committed at the time, but then things just fizzle out and we just revert back to old patterns. And I think this is really sad, because there's a part of us on those occasions that knows there's more. It's like, yeah, there's more. There's more for me. I know there's so much more for me. I know there's another level of fitness. I know there's another level of relationship, of financial success, of career success, whatever it is for you. We know that. But then we pull back and we resort to old patterns. So this masterclass, it's not going to be just teaching you how to set goals. Like, you can go and watch a YouTube video about that. That's not my job. If you want to set goals, like most people know how to set goals. They write stuff down on paper. There are some ideas. There are things that they want to aspire toward. Great. They're important. But what's the deeper thing? Why don't we actually achieve those goals most often? That's what we're going to talk about today. I'm actually going to let you on the insights that are actually going on within yourself that hold you back, that act like a handbrake, that just rob you of experiencing the fulfillment that ultimately you would love to experience. Like, there's not a single person here on earth. I just got to mute. Here we go. There we go. There's not a single person on earth who doesn't want to experience a great quality of life. Yeah? Everyone wants to live the most fulfilling, the most abundant, the most impactful life possible. But then what gets in the way? Again, we're going to be unpacking that today together.
Oopsie.
So, and yeah, thanks for your patience, guys. I'm having to stop and start because I'm doing the technical muting people as we go as well. Thank you. I will be doing a Q&A at the end for everyone as well. Like, if there's any questions, hold your questions till the end. I'm definitely going to cover that. So the topic today is how to design and live your most productive year yet without unnecessary stress, struggle, overwhelm, and procrastination. Sounds like a bold claim, and it is. There's a lot in that. But when you really grasp what we're going to be talking about, you'll see exactly what I'm talking about here and how that's actually possible for you to live with less stress, struggle, overwhelm, and procrastination. You're actually going to learn where those things come from. And understanding is power, as they say. So you're going to have an understanding of, okay, wow, that's why I'm procrastinating. Yeah. That's why I'm procrastinating. That's why these patterns are at play. It's quite fascinating to see how many people stop trying to procrastinate. And that's a very interesting approach, because if you're just trying to stop procrastinating, like, and again, it's a well-meaning thing. People often come to me for coaching. They're like, I want to stop procrastinating. And it's the issue, but it's not actually the cause. Like, what's actually causing the procrastination? That's what we've got to ask. And there's a lot behind that most people don't realize, but it's actually quite simple. Now, one thing that I've learned from training with Marissa Peer, she's one of the leading therapists in the world. She taught me something that I love. And she taught me, and it was something that I kind of had a hunch about, but that humans are actually, like, the human behavior is actually quite simple. It's actually quite simple. And sometimes there's industries out there that make it so complex, and they make it so complex because of how they can profit from it. They want people to be confused in it. But there are actually some fundamental things that tend to work extremely well for most humans. When we do the right things, we tend to be able to produce a great result. That just seems to be the way it is. So, and I've seen that to be true. There are some fundamental things that actually make a difference. And so we're going to be talking about those today in depth. As much as I can cram into 75 minutes, guys, my goodness, I'm going to cram it in. Don't you worry about that. So I really believe not listening and taking what I'm going to share in this masterclass and using it in your life and applying it in whatever way you can, it could be one of the most expensive things you ever do, not taking what I'm going to share with you and using it. Now, in saying that, don't take my word for it. Don't take my word for it. I am not sitting here telling you that this is gospel. This is what works for me. This is what works for my clients. This is what makes sense to me after a decade of immersing myself in studying human behavior and human potential and transformation work. This is what I believe gets individuals the best results. But again, I'm not here saying you have to believe this. We've got enough people on earth trying to do that. Take what I say. If there's something that resonates with you, explore it. If what I'm sharing with you actually lands and it feels like, wow, there's a truth to that for me, then run with it. Beautiful. But I want to give you permission to do that, because we live in a world where so many people are just being told, do this, do that, think this way. And I don't want that at all. You know, you're sovereign beings, and I want you to embrace that fact. In saying that, what I'm going to talk about in this masterclass, it might not be mainstream thinking. Actually, most of it won't be. And a lot of it will challenge mainstream thinking as well, which I think is actually necessary. You know, it's interesting, for any progression to happen in any industry, there has to be a challenge to old ideas, or that there needs to be innovative thinking. And so I believe that some of this work, like I'm okay to disrupt what's been done. I'm not here to fit in. I'm here to share what I believe is the greatest information that can produce results for individuals. Okay. You see, I'm pretty passionate about this stuff, guys. I get straight into it. So I really believe that this training could be the difference between having a mediocre relationship or a great relationship. It could be the difference between being stuck in a job or career that doesn't inspire you, to actually stepping into one that lights you up and it feels like your work is play. Is that possible? 1000%. It could be the difference between working to survive, earning mediocre money, to actually earning an abundance of income, doing what you love. And it goes on. You'll see, again, why I'm saying it, because we're going to talk about the fundamental things that makes really the biggest difference. You're going to learn about what to double down your attention on, like what to actually invest your attention on as far as your thinking goes and behaving goes. You know, I can't talk to you about investing finances. I can't talk to you about many things. But what I can talk to you about is optimizing your mind, you know, getting more out of life. That's what I'm about. So I'm just curious, type it in the chat if you would, guys. Just like type me if this is you. But who here would love to understand how you can achieve more while actually doing less? Who would actually like that? Again, another bold claim. But I'm curious. Okay, beautiful. I'm in the right place. Yes. Of course. Okay. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. Now, you might be wondering, is this a workshop where at the end I get sold stuff? And if that's in your mind, I'm pleased to tell you that you won't be disappointed. This is my craft. This is my calling. And so for anyone who feels called to do so, I will be offering what I believe is my most mind-blowing offer yet. And I feel that you'll love it. Okay. So let me just mute this here as well. Beautiful. So there's a couple of things as well. I always let people know at the beginning of my trainings, anyone who, I know many of you have been part of my trainings before, and I'm so grateful for that. I'm so grateful for all of you being here. In fact, I do talk in my weird Australian accent for the duration of the session. Okay. So that's a given. I also tell dad jokes. So if I tell a dad joke, what I ask is that you laugh and you make me feel really validated. All right. Because my dad jokes are very important to me. I'm joking, guys. Okay. Now, but I do get passionate and I do swear sometimes. All right. So if you're offended by anything I say, just know that I'm offended that you're offended. And so we balance each other out. And then harmony will be restored in the universe. Okay. So I'm having a bit of fun here, guys, because I want you to write this down. This is very important to carry into this new year. And I think after the past few years, many people have detached from this. Very important. The more fun I have, the more I learn. Write that down. I will be encouraging you to take notes in case you didn't notice yet. The more fun I have, the more I learn. And then the more I learn, the more I earn. Now, when I'm talking about earning, it's not just finances, it's health. It's a great relationship. Now, if you're getting value from this training, I do ask that if you're open to it, take a screenshot of yourself doing it and please share it out and tag me on social media. If you're open to that, that would be greatly appreciated because it allows me to reach more people with my work. I'll be very honest with you. I've had a fair level of, I've reached a level of understanding with coaching and all this other stuff. The whole online business side of things, I've had to work hard at that. I've had to do a lot of training on that. And I continue to do my best to be present on social media. It's an ever evolving platform and it's a lot of work. So just, if you're getting value, just sharing it out, saying, this was valuable to me, that helps me so much. It really does. And allows me to impact more people, which is what I'm about. If you don't know that about me yet, then hopefully by the end of this training, you can sense that that's where I'm coming from. All right. And if nothing else, like if you just watch this training and you're good and you're like, nothing else, I'm not interested in working with Nash anymore, that's perfect. Like I'm so okay with that. And I just know that you're in this space for a reason, hearing this information. Just take it, run with it. All I ask is that you please use it. Please use what you learn here. That's it. So quick question as well, like how you all doing out there? Everyone, like there's people from around the world. We've got people from Canada, from Australia, from, I don't know, US. Simon, you're in Spain. Is that right, brother? Sort of. Where are you at in the world, brother? I'm trying to remember. Thought it was so short. Germany. Oh, you're moving on me. No worries, brother. Thank you. Well done being here. Yeah. So, yeah, Catherine's firing on all cylinders. I love that. That's awesome, Catherine. What about everyone else? How else are you doing? How's everyone else doing? And it's okay. Here's the thing, guys. I'm so okay with you telling me how you, like if there's something else that's feeling a bit heavy right now moving to the new year, acknowledge that as well. That's fine. Like, how you doing? This is a legitimate question. Loving life at the moment. Beautiful. These are great answers. Some of you are firing on all cylinders. Some of you are loving life. Simon, some of you are a little drained. Yeah, but you're excited. Awesome. Thank you, brother. Great. Yep. Still drilling on the rig. Well done, Alyssa. Awesome. Doing pretty good. Excited for the new year. A little frazzled. Juggling two little ones. Yeah. Beautiful. This is good. Thank you for sharing, guys. And anyone else, please feel free to drop it in the chat as well. So this workshop is designed to support you, not just have success this year, not just success. It's designed to support you have fulfillment. Success is usually measured by external accomplishments, by things by ticking the boxes, by doing, reaching certain outcomes on the external world. But I think Tony Robbins says it so well. He says success without fulfillment is the ultimate failure. So it's actually about having an internal experience of fulfillment this year as well. And I have so much compassion for just anyone on earth right now who feels a little frazzled, who feels a little bit, burned out, who feels a little bit, drained after the past few years as well. Like there's been a lot of uncertainty to navigate. And if you're feeling a little bit, like the wind's been knocked out of your sails, you're not alone, let me tell you that. So we're here to talk about experiencing deep fulfillment today. And in order to experience fulfillment, there's something really important. There's two important things, actually. Our mission must be bigger than ourselves. A lot of people sat down, maybe after New Year's, maybe before if they're a little more organized, and they wrote out a bunch of goals. Probably wrote out goals for their health, maybe for their finances, possibly for their relationship. And they're just a couple of what I believe are, 9 to 12 areas of life. Most people focus on those 3 top ones: the finances, the career, the relationships, and the finances. So there's 4, I guess, top 4. And that's great. Like if you did that, amazing. But then were those goals just about you, or were they about other people? Because fulfillment comes from our mission being bigger than ourselves. And it comes from seeing how we are showing up is actually impacting and benefiting other people's lives. And beyond that, beyond it just impacting other people, it must be a mission that's authentic to us. Very often, people set goals from a space of not being good enough, or a space of almost, and this is pretty harsh, but self-loathing or comparison. And they set goals from this really, I'm going to use the word toxic place, and they're doing it so well-meaningly. And again, I'm saying this with so much compassion. They set goals from that. Now, if that's the place you set goals from, that's actually the driver behind your goals. And every time you aspire or you take action toward that goal, it's kind of got this energy. It's being driven by this feeling of inadequacy. And that's the fuel behind it. I work with some incredibly high-performing individuals, and one of the first things I do is to find out what's driving their success. What's actually the fuel behind it? And so often it is to prove something to mum or dad or some other person in their life, to prove that bully wrong, or to prove someone. And again, there's benefits, there's drawbacks and benefits to everything. However, in the long run, we don't want to be operating from that place. Maybe you've had a certain level of success being driven from a place of needing to prove something, and there's actually, that's been good because it's gotten you into gear. Without that kick up the arse, you wouldn't have done what you've done. So there's been a benefit to it. But in the long run, it's not a sustainable fuel. It leads to this constant feeling of overwhelm and this stress in the body, because again, the deepest belief is I'm inadequate, I'm not good enough, they're better than me. Can you see where I'm getting at with this? Really important to grasp. So making sure that the driver is healthy. The mission is bigger than ourselves, and it is authentic to us. Again, it's not to prove anything. It's not from a place of inadequacy. It's from a place of, shit, this is the best thing I could do with my life. This is the best thing. Like I get one shot at this. If I could do anything, it would be this. Like if that would be a worthwhile use of my life. That is the energy that drives the mission. Now, that is something that's sustainable. It's something that feels light, expansive. It doesn't feel like a hamster on a wheel that can never get off. And I use that metaphor very deliberately because one of my clients was using that recently. So a lot of people desire this fulfillment we're talking about, but they feel like they're barely keeping their head above water. So as I've said, fulfillment is about making the mission bigger than yourself. It's about being authentic. But then they're like, that sounds good, Nash, but I'm barely surviving. I feel like, shit, I can hardly face another day. Like I'm doing my best. I've got so many responsibilities. I'm only just surviving. How do I actually step into this mission? And again, as I said before, it's not about doing more. It's actually about doing less and doing it better. That's what my aim is. That's what I love supporting my clients with. And as far as having an authentic mission, most people are so disconnected from themselves that they don't even know what they really desire. They don't actually know what it feels like to be their true self. They don't know what is true to them versus just projections of other people and society. And again, I'm saying this with so much compassion because I have been there, and that's why I can talk about this. You know, most people are caught up in some form of people pleasing. And so much so that they've often lost themselves in the process. And they're feeling like, you know, life is moving faster than they can even keep up. And it's a pretty intense feeling, or they feel like they're really working hard and they're just not seeing the results they want. So that people pleasing can be a really big part for many people, because we have a deep, primitive need to fit in and to belong. And we believe if we're not a particular way, if we don't live a certain way, then we'll be rejected and we'll die. That's actually the biggest fear beneath it. As crazy as that sounds. So a lot of my work as a performance coach and a breakthrough coach is supporting my clients build resilience. Now, that word in itself for some of you might be really exciting. You're like, yes, love it, Nash. Let's do some resilience work. Now, for others here, it might be like, damn, that's the last thing I need right now. You're like, I can't even fathom becoming more resilient. I feel like I'm resilient as anything right now. But there's resilience where you are just forcing and you're just having to knuckle down and get stuff done. There's a time for that. And then there's a time for, I guess, we could call it healthier resilience. And we're going to talk about what that is. So if you're just trying to like white knuckle it through life, trying to build resilience every single day, trying to build discipline, trying to stack habits, trying to just put one foot in front of the other, put on a brave face and you know, get after it. Again, there's a time for that. And I'm all for that at times. And it's important we know how to access that gear. Some people need to actually be trained how to do that. But if we're just trying to force life to happen a particular way and force outcomes without resetting our nervous system, it's actually a sure path to disappointment. So if we're just trying to force, so you can see how people can get in a bit of a pickle here, guys. They're often trying to achieve things from not feeling good enough. And then when they're not feeling good enough, what do? They try and knuckle down. They're like, I've got to double down on what I'm doing and actually become more resilient, more disciplined. And they go to it. And this is a trap a lot of high performers fall into. And they do so much, but they're barely holding it together. And their nervous system is just maxed. And they're getting adrenal fatigue, they're getting burnout, they're getting overwhelmed, stress on very high levels, and the body's starting to show symptoms. The body keeps score. So building true resilience is about resetting the nervous system so you can actually play the long game. That's someone who's resilient, in my opinion, not just someone who can white knuckle it for a little bit of time. Just letting a few more people in the waiting room here. Okay, is this landing? Is this landing, everyone? Type it in the chat if this is landing. Beautiful. Thank you. Let me... Yes, Simon, we're going to touch on that, brother. Just trying to find... Cassie, I'm going to make you a co-host, my love. Oh, I can't make you co-host, and it's not letting me do it. That's all good. I was just saying, because sometimes there's people in the waiting room. Sometimes I'm looking at you guys, and I don't quite see the, like, yeah, my brain's very good at doing one thing at a time. That's pretty much me. So that's resilience. So I was speaking about trying to build resilience without resetting a nervous system is just trying to flog a tired horse. That's essentially what a lot of people are trying to do. So when the clock ticked over midnight this new year, and you know, I always say to people, you don't need a new year to make a new start. Like that's been something I've believed for a long time. And you don't. It's just, it's just a new calendar. It's a number. It doesn't really mean much apart from the meaning we give it. But there is something that I guess there's a certain shift in society that tends to happen, and it can be useful to use that as an opportunity to assess our life and actually focus on up-leveling. So there's some benefit to it. But when the clock ticked over midnight, maybe you felt grateful that there was another year ahead of you, but maybe there was a part of you that felt a bit like a boxer in a ring who's hearing the bell ring for another round. And you're like, yes, there's another year. I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful. I'm definitely grateful. But damn, something's got to change. I can't keep doing it the way I've been doing it. You're still standing, but you're wondering how much more you can give. Like truly, if you feel into that. You're like, yes, there's so much more for me and I am committed to making it happening, but something's got to shift. What are those shifts that will make the real difference for you this year? If that's you, by the way, and you were like, oh, new year, I'm again so grateful that I can't do it like I did last year. I can't do it like the years before. Like if that's you, man, I feel you. I see you. I've been there. I've started so many new years. I'll be very transparent with you here, guys. I've started so many new years with feelings of fear, with feelings of just overwhelm and even dread. So I've been there. Like that was me in the past. Like I was there, and particularly in my very early 20s, like I used to think that it would be like almost every new year was like for a period of kind of 3-4 years there. I was fairly convinced it would be my last year on earth. Like I was at that point. Like I was like, this is it. I don't get another one of these. But I was doing that as in like, I'm not going to survive. I'm not going to make it through this next year. Again, grateful to be alive, but not fully living. So I've been at that extreme as well. Now, I'm not a positive thinker. I don't believe in positive thinking. Again, to build resilience, I believe in true resilience. And true resilience means we must learn to tune into the depth of our emotions, of what we're actually feeling right now, and being honest with ourselves. Okay, yes, it's a new year, but what am I feeling within myself? What's the fear I have about this new year? Because if you don't address the fear or the concerns you have, they will play in the background. So it's actually important to learn to bring them out to the forefront. So this is, I've heard some people call it mitigating the downside. So it's like any successful endeavor, or very successful entrepreneurs very often do this. I've observed this about them, where they'll set an objective and then they pull out every potential issue that could happen, that could come up. Like him or hate him, Donald Trump, he's a fairly successful entrepreneur. I think we could all agree on that at least. And Dr. John Demartini, who I've studied with, used to live in Trump Tower. And he said he used to catch the elevator and occasionally Donald Trump would be in there. And he noticed about Donald Trump that he would always have a team of people around him who would be essentially like, they would anticipate potential issues that could go wrong with his plans. So he would say, okay, so we're going to put this building here on this particular site. He's like, I want to know for every single issue that could go wrong. So if we're going to hit a gas pipe, for example, while we're digging foundations, if we hit a gas pipe, I want 12 solutions to dealing with that problem. This is how he would actually operate, which is really fascinating. That's very strategic, because they're like, if this is an issue, how do we deal with it? And so they deal with the issues in advance. And that way, when the project happens, they flow, because they've got a plan. A lot of people, again, they're going to their New Year's, they've got a plan, but they're not like, what's the thing that could go potentially wrong here? And so the thing is the fears. What are the fears that might be at the back of your mind that you've not addressed? Bring them to the forefront. Be honest. It's very important, because if you don't be honest about them, they'll come out and bite you on the ass when you least want it. That's my elegant way of putting it. So if there are fears, like what are the concerns and fears? Like if you don't want to use the word fear, just use concerns. And you don't have to write them in the chat. You can if you want, but this is for you. So this right away, you're like, okay, what's this got to do with me, getting the most out of this year? This could save you so much pain just doing this one little exercise. What are the potential things that could get in the way of me making the most of this year? Maybe you set goals. Great. What are the fears you have around those? Be honest and deal with them head on. Come up with a plan. Mitigate the downside. So for me, for years, again, I would just try and compound, achieve more. And again, I'm grateful for the way I was doing the best I could. But a friend once came to me and they saw I was very driven and they said to me, Nash, how would you know if you were successful? This particular guy had done a fair bit of work on himself. And he said, what are you searching for? He said, I sense you're searching for something. And it was the first time someone asked me a question like that. And I felt like a bit of a wave of emotion come over me. And I just said to him, after thinking about it for a minute, I just said, I want my mind to be at peace. That's it. And I was like, shit, I'm doing all of this. And all I want is my mind to be at peace. And now looking back, not only did I just want my mind to be at peace, like again, and we could say peace, or we could be, say, a state of fulfillment within ourselves. We want to be fulfilled. We actually want to be able to enjoy life and appreciate what's right in front of us, as opposed to always rushing somewhere. And again, it wasn't just my mind I wanted at peace. I wanted my heart to be at peace. Now, that might sound a bit cheesy to some of you, but let me actually give you the science behind that statement. The heart sends more information, the heart and other organs actually, so the rest of your body sends more information to your brain than your brain sends to your body. So from the heart and from the rest of the body, there's more data going into your brain. It's called afferent data. And the brain is only sending around 20% of the information to regulate your organs. It's called efferent data. So the body actually communicates more to your brain than your brain does to your body. So if you've ever heard someone use the phrase, or maybe someone's used it about you, or you're too much in your head. There's some truth behind that. There's some truth behind that. Like when we're just in our head, we're missing out. It's only 20%. The rest of the 80% is actually in the body. There's an intelligence in the entire body that most people move out of tune with. This is true. And they can actually sense this through tracking the signals. Like there's more information going to the brain than there is being sent from the brain to the body. So there's a lot of, and like even the gut, like you can go and research the gut and like we've used the term ourselves, I'm sure. I've got a feeling. I can feel that in my gut. It doesn't feel right in my gut. So there's a lot of like wisdom in the body that most people miss out of. They're too much in their head. Now, what will stop people tuning into the wisdom of the body? Lopsided perceptions, trying to do things for other people, trying to be someone they're not. Again, that's all head. And so trying to be someone you're not, trying to achieve from a place of not feeling good enough, that's a belief. It's in your head. It's not the true you. So training people to drop back in the body is a real gift. And this is something we can all do. I'm going to talk about it. So the body is a network of intelligence. I just want you to write that down. It's a very important note. My body is a network of intelligence. Write that down, please, if you could. So tuning into the intelligence of the body is what's known as introception. Introception. So introception is defined as the collection of senses perceiving the internal state of the body. So there's an internal state of the body. There's an experience that's happening inside your body, and most people are completely oblivious to it. They're so busy living out there, again, trying to achieve, trying to do things, trying to go after their goals. That's great. There's a place for it, but they're missing out. They're actually missing out on getting back. I call the body the signal station. we've got to come back to the signal station because it's actually giving us all the feedback. If we just actually tune into the body a little bit more, then we will work far less harder than we need to. Does that make sense? I don't even know if I said that right. Far less harder than we need to. Don't know. You get what I'm saying. But you hear Dr. Joe Dispenza says the body is the subconscious mind. So the body is actually, it's again, a network of intelligence. And there's a great book called The Body Keeps Score. So the body is absolutely letting you know exactly what is present for you and what is actually, like the body, again, you've all walked in a room where you've had an experience where you've walked in a room and there's been an energy and you're just like, shit, like there's something intense going on here. Or there's something not right here. That intuitive sense, that's very important. That's there to keep us alive. And sometimes we experience that intuitive nudge when something's really threatening to our safety. But the truth is we're always getting intuitive nudges. We're always getting intuitive nudges. But if we're out of tune with our body, we're not connected to ourselves, our primary energy source, then we miss out. And we're trying to, again, figure it all out with our mind. So is this landing, guys? Like, this is kind of deep stuff, but is this landing for everyone? Just type it in the chat, please. Beautiful. Great. Excellent. So you might be saying, okay, what on earth has this got to do with me making the most out of this year? So again, anyone can set goals, but a few people will actually achieve them. And if you do achieve them, will you actually be fulfilled? I've heard it said that fulfillment is an art. It's not a destination. And I would totally agree. I've worked with models, fashion models, who are being flown around the world. People getting them to wear their clothing lines and all the stuff that they do. And those individuals still don't think they're enough. They still think that something's wrong with them, that there's inadequacies about themselves. I've worked with pro-level athletes who don't like their bodies and still don't think what they're doing is enough, even though they're performing at such a high level. I've worked with multimillionaires, individuals who own dozens and dozens of properties, and yet they can't get off the couch to face another day. These people are successful, but they're not fulfilled. And this is, if you train yourself to do this, is what will allow you to live a great year. Nikola Tesla said it. We're all transmitters and receivers. Now, the interesting thing is, if you look at most geniuses throughout history, or people who would class as genius, we've all got genius potential, and I could go into the science of why I say that. And there's, like, you absolutely do have genius potential. Just take my word for it. Even if you don't believe it yet, you do, because your brain will adapt to that which you practice the most, and it will continue to form habits and gain understanding of whatever you put your attention on the most. And there's no limit to what you can do, really. But people would class as geniuses, I guess, individuals who have actually accessed a high level of mastery in their life. If you observe their life, like, they spend deep pockets of time, or pockets of time at least, in deep focus, in introspection. Edison, and whether or not you like, or whatever, these individuals, whatever, Edison, Einstein, Steve Jobs, the list goes on. Like, there's people who've done, like, there's no denying they've done something significant here on earth. They all spend time, like, look at their daily habits. They all spend time. They are ridiculously high performing, but they spend time. They make the time for it. And that's where the insights actually flow. But what stops people connecting to the intelligence of their body, or it's actually the intelligence that comes through the body, it's not just their body, it's through the body, because I believe we're a channel. When we clear out the channel, we can actually get insights and information. And that might sound deep, but I could go into that as well. So people, they're not connected to their body. That's the first thing that stops this information coming through. And they're also living by really low-grade emotions, what some people would call low vibrational emotions. And emotional states do have a vibration, and this can be measured. So if someone's had the experience of having trauma in their life, had the experience, and I'm using that wording very deliberately, if someone's had the experience of having trauma in their life, I don't like to say someone's had trauma. That might be what people believe, but they've had the experience, because what is traumatic for people, when they do enough work, they can actually look and say, oh my goodness, that was the greatest gift. That was the freaking thing that unlocked me. And that's completely possible. So they've had the experience up until this point of having trauma, because it's no longer a trauma when you balance it in your mind. So that's why I use that wording. So, but if you've had that and you've not resolved that, you've not closed that loop, there's a resistance and there's a tension in the body. So you won't actually be able to access this 80%, or even if it's 20% or 50% that's actually available. This deeper understanding, this connection to life, this feedback, this understanding that's available when you tune into the body and you connect to the intelligence of the body. Now, the mind is designed to seek pleasure and avoid pain. But for some people, spending time in this introspection that I'm talking about here, which could be for you prayer, could be a meditation, or could be a stillness practice, it could be journaling, could just be walking through nature, just with no input and just with your thoughts. For some people, that's about as comfortable as putting their tongue on a piping hot stove. They cannot do it. They'll keep busy being busy because it's terrifying to them. Their system's like, if you do that, that is completely painful. I do not want you to do that, because you might actually feel what you're really feeling, which is guilt, inadequacy, fear, judgment, whatever else it is. And this is the trap people fall into. Then they try and do more and do more and do more without actually dealing with this stuff. Again, to experience fulfillment, our mission must be bigger than ourselves. In other words, it can't just be about us. But the truth is, it's very rare we'll do something for other people or put other people before us when we're in survival. Because survival is self-preservation. So again, you want to be fulfilled, you do things more for other people. And you focus on a mission bigger than yourself, and it's got to be fulfilling to you. Again, we won't rarely do that if we're in survival, because we're just like, I need to live. It's just me, like, shit, how could I take care of other people? I'm barely breathing myself. And so this can be where people hit a bit of a snag, because they want that fulfillment, but they don't quite know how to access it. And so learning how to move out of survival is so important. Now, there are cases where you'll hear about parents or a friend. Like, for example, parents will jump in this water and save their kids from a car that's fallen in a lake or something, or a friend who takes a bullet in the military or something like that, or a lover who protects their partner from a burglar or something like that. This stuff does happen. But here's the interesting thing about that. If you actually break it down, those people who put their own lives at risk for other people actually believe that is still a form of self-preservation, because their identity is tied up. That person is an extension of them. So it's still this self-preservation thing that goes on. And that's beautiful. It can be classed as beautiful. Obviously, it's not beautiful that that person's passed, but it's all part of it. But what I'm getting at here, guys, is the mission was bigger than them. But for most people, that's not the case. Their self-preservation is just trying to survive. They're trying to protect themselves. They're trying to feed themselves. They're trying to survive. And this is happening on a subconscious level. There's this kind of panic. There's this distress that's going on in the nervous system. Martin Luther King Jr. said, if you've not discovered something you're willing to die for, you're not fit to live. Pretty strong words there. But ultimately, that's the mission we will dedicate our lives to. It will be, not just goals that we set for the year. It's actually a mission that we're on. Like taking control of our health is a mission. Taking control of our finances, it's a mission. Having a great relationship in a family life, it's a mission. And it's not about ourselves. It benefits us for sure. It feels so expansive for us. It's important it does. So here's some things to support you all. Practically stop running and move out of any survival that you might have been in. So number one, stop running. Stop running. Stop thinking you're being chased by something. Number one. And then next one is feel to heal. So feel to heal. That means actually feel what's going on inside. If there are fears about this year, address them head on. And don't identify with pain anymore. Stop identifying. Pain is feedback. Pain is feedback. If you're experiencing discomfort, if you're experiencing anxiety, depression, anything like this, it's feedback. Stop identifying with it. And if you've had wounds and hurt in the past, see it as medals of honor. This is a reframe. But don't identify with past hurt. You got hurt, yes, because you're a human. Thank goodness you feel. And also, if you're taking hits, you're in the game. So feel to heal. Now, feeling to heal might also include really going into the depth of like if you're experiencing genuine pain in your body right now, like processing that. All emotion is a chemical reaction in the body, and if it's not processed right, it gets stored. So number three is set goals for because it's what you would love to achieve. Set goals because it's what you would love to achieve and not what you have to achieve. Very, very different energy. It's, again, the best possible use of this year for you. Number four is set goals for what they make of you. Set goals for what they make of you. For who they allow you to become. For what they draw out of you. Number five is set goals that enrich other people's lives. This is a powerful driver. When I train each day, I don't train for myself. Some people say, you're fairly committed to your training. How do you do it? It's not for me. I train for my clients. I train for my kids. I train for Cassie. I want to say with my hand on my heart that I was never a burden to Cassie with my health and my family. That's my driver. That's it. Do I always get it right? No. Of course not. None of us do. But we do our best. The driver gets to be bigger than yourself. And it's okay that it's for yourself. It's got to be 50-50. It's always that balance. So a great way to look at this in life is you look at the breath. The breath is, it's 50% in, it's 50% out. There's got to be a receiving, there's got to be a giving. And that's the balance we need. Coming back to that. Same with sharing your gifts with the world. You want to give and you want to receive. So let's talk about goal setting. Let's talk about, because we've spoken about some big things, and those 5 steps I shared will be game changing for you as well. And also learning everything we've spoken about, even the like just tuning into the body and actually dropping into the sensations of the body and understanding, okay, what are you really feeling? If it's happiness, if it's fulfillment, if it's excitement, beautiful, amazing. And also being honest about anything you're fearful of. So most people, when they set goals, they list out things they want to achieve. There's like this and this and this. Great. Again, that's incredible. Like that's a great start. If you did that, I celebrate you. What's more impactful than that, though, is actually instead of just focusing on achieving the outcomes, you focus on the specific skills and habits that would allow you to achieve those things and so much more. So the specific skill sets and habits. Now, why do I say that? It's because, again, the goal has the potential to draw something out of you. And you can just set a goal. For example, I'm going to give you, like break this down. So for example, someone might say, I have a goal this year to release 8 kilos. And anyone who's worked with me, you know I'm using that wording very deliberately, not lose 8 kilos. This year I have the desire to release 8 kilos. Now that might be the goal. It's a great goal. Awesome. But then let's actually change it to actually making it a mission where you're focusing on developing the skills and habits that would allow you to do that and so much more. So this year, this is how I would reframe that. This year, I've easily mastered the habit of training 3 times each week. I prep my meals on Sunday. I make sure I walk at least 10,000 steps a day. I complete my first half marathon. When I stand on the scales, I see the numbers read whatever amount of kilos. I'm wearing size whatever clothes. You hear that? Now that's that's like a blueprint for how to live. And you could expand on that so much more. So it's gone from this year I release 8 kilos to actually this whole thing. This is my process that would allow me to not only release 8 kilos, it would actually set me up to have a healthy lifestyle. That can then excite the imagination as well, excite you enough to show up for it. You know, you're talking about the kind of clothes you're going to wear. You're going to talk about maybe how you feel when you look in the mirror. When you're hanging out with your friends, what's your confidence level like? On top of that, what I always encourage people to do, this is a little trick I learned in construction. I had to learn the hard way, was whenever you calculate your materials, and people might say, Nevin Catherine might have a different opinion on this, but usually when you calculate quantities for a job, you allow roughly 15% on top as far as extra materials for, you know, just maybe damaged goods, whatever else that happens. I like to do this with goal setting as well. So if you say that, you know, you want to release 8 kilos, you might not necessarily release like 10 or whatever 15% on top is, but you might say that, okay, you want to run a half marathon that will probably demonstrate that you've released that kind of weight and you're actually in great health. Maybe you would actually aim to run a full marathon. You actually say, all right, I'm going to actually run a marathon, because that would be, ooh, that scares me. That scares me a lot, but it's actually kind of exciting. And if I was able to run or even partially do a full marathon, I could definitely do a half marathon. As they say, aim for the stars. And if you only hit the moon, at least you've left for the earth. I think that's wise. Your dreams will draw out the potential within you. The dreams draw out the potential within you. Without casting great goals and specific outcomes of things you would love to achieve in all the key areas of life, you will not draw as much out of yourself this year as you could have otherwise. Because if you're not moving toward a vision of the future, what are you doing? You're just repeating the past, right? And also beyond that, so you set the most exciting vision that you would love to achieve, not have to achieve this year. Again, this is going to, if you're coming from the energy of I have to do this, it's going to feel stressful. You're going to procrastinate. You're going to feel overwhelmed. This is an authentic mission. So the dream draws out the resources within you. The bigger the dream you set, the more clear it is, And you want to make it clear, because then the mind the more clear it is, the less excuses you're going to have. So often procrastination, spinning our wheels, comes from just not knowing the path. And we're beating ourselves up trying to change the pattern of procrastination, not realizing, hey, I do not have a clear instruction in my mind at all. Again, it's like if you employ someone, you're like, hey, I want you to go and do this job. And they're like, okay, so what do I do exactly? Like you need to make it clear for them. And I think it's worth having your goals clear enough that if someone else was to read them, they could almost go and do them. It would almost make sense to them to go and just complete. You might not have to be quite on that level, but something close, like they could understand where you're going and your path there. And you do the best one you can, and you don't be attached to it, because the truth is we don't actually know the full path, but you set the best one you can, and you'd be open to refining it. That's a growth mindset. A growth mindset is willing to adapt and change. It doesn't mean you constantly change your goals. You just change your way of getting there. And you're like, this is the outcome. I'm going to get there one way or the other. And I'm willing to find out. I'm willing to test and measure till I actually find a path. This year as well, what I encourage you all to do is pick 3 things that you're committed to mastery in. Mastery. Not dabbling, mastery. And double down on those. Again, 3 things that you know would allow you to live the best possible year. It would allow you at the end of the year to look back and say, that was an epic year. And again, maybe go a little bit over what you would ultimately love to experience, so you get that 15%. Just to allow for maybe obstacles that come up. Very important. Now, this is all great. And if you've done that, I celebrate you. And if you, obviously on this call, we can't be pausing because it's only 75 minutes, but please come back to this after this call. So the truth is that anything that requires a lot of force and a lot of effort, it's not subconscious yet. It's not subconscious. If you've learned how to drive a car here or in life, then you don't have to think about that every time you sit in that car. It's subconscious. You just do it. You've trained yourself. It's become a habit. So what creates massive inner turmoil for people? Again, unnecessary suffering, unnecessary overwhelm, stress, procrastination, is when they say they want thing, but then their internal system wants a completely different thing. So again, that 20%, the logical mind or the mind is like, yeah, I want this. This would be great. But then the whole system's like, no, it's going in the other way. Because you've not actually tuned into it. You've not actually felt what needs to be felt. You've not processed what needs to be processed in the body. And so this creates this conflict and this tension in our lives. Creates inner turmoil. So what gets in the way of people executing on their great plans is subconscious beliefs. So they want one thing, but their subconscious is dragging them in the other way. Subconscious is highly powerful. So the truth is, if there's a part of you that says, I would love to do this, we can call that the highest part of you. It's the part of you that's like, yeah, no, I love this. That would be epic for me. And then there's part of you that could be called the lower part that's often dragging you back. And it's not dragging you back because it's mean or it's out to get you. It's just dragging you back because it's actually terrified that you will not survive if you do that thing. Because once upon a time, you gave it a program that was in conflict to that. Maybe right now as a grown-up, you're like, yeah, no, earning money would be great. And earning this particular amount of money would be phenomenal. I know that for myself, having this level of success or having this kind of relationship. And you know that. But then if there's a part of you that's like, as a kid, you made a decision because you saw people around you demonstrating particular behaviors, particular beliefs. and you took those on, then there's this conflict and you're like, yeah, that would be nice, but your system's like, no, that would equal death because that's not for you. And this is what happens. So clearing those subconscious patterns is very, very important. And the way you're going to start doing that, as I said, I've given you a little formula already, that 5-step: quieting down, sitting down, being brave enough to talk about and bring up the fears. And again, I'm not talking about sitting around here talking about woe is me, getting into victimhood. I'm just being like, this is real. This is strength training on a high level. This is like, if you work with a good trainer, they'll find the little muscles that are not quite strong yet, and they'll build those up, because they know without those little supporting muscles, without the strong tendons and everything else like that, and the ligaments being strong enough, then the big muscles can, they can't actually be formed and function properly. So this is the stuff that makes the difference that most people miss out on. So addressing the potential fears. Now, also understanding that, like I've said, the body's a network of intelligence. There's so much intelligence, and actually learning how to turn that intelligence on is vital. So what can get in the way of us receiving insights? And we will actually stop ourselves receiving deep, like very high level insights if we're holding too much baggage within ourselves. We just won't be ready for it. We won't be able to receive the downloads, and we'll be like, why can't I get ahead? Why can't I see a path forward? It's because maybe you're not ready for it. What has not been resolved or closed at your current level? Go to work on that. And it's easy for anyone as human to fall into, oh, that's not fair. Like, why do I need to do that? That wasn't even me who caused that thing to happen. And we can get in that really unproductive loop. But the truth is, if it happened in your life, it's your responsibility and opportunity to break through it, because I guarantee it holds some gold. It holds the key to you actually fulfilling your mission here on earth. That seems to be the way it works. So processing any beliefs that are not in line with your highest vision, that's true and authentic to you, very important. And also processing somatically, which means actually flushing out essentially the chemical residue in the body that's been stored. I'm sure many of you have heard that 90% of disease is stress related. Most kind of modern day medicine doctors don't necessarily agree with, lots of the, I guess, ancient medicine, but that's kind of a standard one that most doctors will agree on, which is interesting. A lot of healers have said that for years, but now modern medicine doctors will admit that. So all of this unconscious energy and lopsided perceptions store in the body. And if we're not setting a vision from a place of like our healed self, we're setting a vision often from a place of a wounded self and wondering why we can't sustain ourselves or sustain momentum toward it. It's like trying to put diesel in an engine that's a fuel, like a standard petrol car. Just doesn't work so well. Now, again, the massive turmoil happens when our higher self wants one thing, but our lower self, impulsive self, is trying to pull us in another direction, creates inner conflict. Now, talking about procrastination as well, I've mentioned a few things that can lead to procrastination: not knowing, not having a clear path forward. Let me tell you the surest way to procrastinate, guys, is to chase someone else's dream. Procrastination stems so often from people trying to chase someone else's dream, a dream that is not, or a mission, if you don't like the word dream, that is not authentic to them. Procrastination also stems from fear. This is why I encourage you to do that exercise at the start of the call. What are the fears? What are the concerns? Address them. Boom. Find a solution. Great. You're good to go. More come up, more fears come up, more potential issues. Great. Address them. Sometimes individuals who have a little bit of anxiety, it can be, or have the experience of having anxiety, it's actually a gift, because they can see around corners that other people can't. They worry about all these potential things that could go wrong. They're actually useful to have in your space at times. If you run a team, find the most anxious person, get them to tell them you everything that they think could go wrong and deal with it. They can be useful. But mitigate that, and then you're actually empowered. That's a gift. So procrastination also stems again from fear and limiting beliefs. So shift from trying to stop procrastinating and move instead to increasing your belief in yourself. Very often, the belief isn't quite there yet. We don't quite believe we're worthy of it. We don't quite believe we're capable of it. We don't quite believe that whatever else, like there's many different beliefs we can have. But focus on working on your belief in yourself. What's the quickest way to build belief in yourself? See yourself live your values. So that means knowing your values, your like the things that are most important and inspiring to you, and living them. That's where you're most self-confident, it's where you're most disciplined, it's where you're most reliable. Now, overwhelm and stress, it so often isn't having too much to do. It's trying to do everything with your current level of thinking and behaving. I'm going to say that again for the people in the back. Overwhelm and stress so often isn't having too much to do. It's trying to do everything with your current level of thinking and behaving. So this is a really cool exercise that I learned training with John Assaraf. He said that imagine someone came to you, and when he said this, like this just struck such a chord with me. He said, imagine someone came to you and they said that if you master playing a particular role in life and then you act it out, you'll receive $1 million if you do a really good job of acting it out. You got to learn this role, you got to learn the scripts, you got to learn the behaviors and embody this person, and then we'll pay you $1 million, or if not more. And that's all you have to do. You have to embody it. So the truth is that we actually all have an opportunity like that right in front of us. Now, who you are today is someone that you've chosen to be. You've chosen to be who you are now. You've chosen the beliefs you have. And I say this with so much love and compassion because I get how it can be when you hear this for the first time, perhaps, and you're like, oh, my life's not where I'd love it to be. Yes, maybe that has something to do with you. And the sooner you embrace that, great, because now you can do something about it. If you can't embrace that, you're always at the mercy of life. So you'd receive $1 million if you mastered a role. All you have to do is learn the scripts. All you have to do is show up in a particular way. And you have to play it. You have to act in a convincing way, not half in, fully. Because people will be able to watch you and they'll be able to say, damn, this person's like terrible at this character. Like you have to fully embody it. Then you get paid that $1 million. Again, that's the opportunity we all have right in front of us. Now, the truth is, having studied hypnosis, we're all being hypnotized. And let me tell you that right now there is mass programming happening in the world. And this is happening all day, everywhere we go. I remember once being at a service station and I was filling up my car with fuel, and I looked at the top of the hose, Bowser, or whatever you call it, I can't remember the technical term, but the hose, and there was a little sticker for like this soft drink. And I was like, oh. And I sort of tuned into it. I was like, oh, that's there. It's on the hose. Gee, that's pretty interesting advertising. Then I looked at the signpost beside me and the same picture was there. And then I looked at the shop and it was all over the front of the shop as well. And then I looked on the actual pumps and it was on there as well. And I tuned into it, like subconsciously that was there all the time. I was oblivious to it, but your subconscious mind is absolutely tuned into that. And there are people all around us. And again, if you've got a great product or service, phenomenal, market it. But the truth is, we're all buying into someone else's marketing. We're all being sold on something. And the question is, how much are you selling yourself on what you know is best for your life? And the realization I came to is we get to become more committed to selling ourselves on our dreams and our ultimate mission and the ultimate impact we want and the life we would love to experience. We get to be more committed than other people will ever be to selling us on something that may not be so great for us. because it's happening. TV, hypnotic. I often share the example, Steve Jobs, when he created the iPhone, like, love or hate the guy, I think we've all benefited from iPhones or smart technologies. Like, so, you know, there's some benefits to what he's done. I will say that. And he's a successful entrepreneur. I will admire that about him. But he got his designers to, he actually said, I want the icons to look so good on the iPhone that I want people to lick them. It's an interesting instruction. But that's actually what, like, they are. And again, was he out to get people when he did that? We can probably, who's to say, but they've got that level of commitment. And there's also a saying, the most empowered person in the room, or the most convicted person in the room, always wins. So if we're not convicted in what we know is best for us, we'll be swept up in other people's plans. You're either living by your plan or you're falling prey to other people's. That's the way it is. And sometimes we need to actually be part of other people's plans, and we need to work together. That's important. But are you being swept up in a plan or I'm going to use the word plan, that's not actually beneficial for you and for humanity? So we're all being hypnotized, and maybe it's time to start giving yourself a hypnotic command. And that's the work I do. The work I do supports people process what's been stored in the body when they step into it. It helps them actually put down the tension in the nervous system. And I often share with my clients, there's 3 ways we change. There's immediate change, where you see results straight away. There's a cumulative change where you see results stacking up and you're like, oh, wow, I'm actually getting somewhere. And you can see. And then there's something called retroactive change, where all of a sudden you wake up and you're like, holy cow, I'm literally living that life I used to dream about. I'm doing it. They're the 3 ways we change. And I can't promise that my work is a silver bullet. But what I do know is that when you put a better command in your mind, you will get a better result every time. So what I'd love to do with you is I'd love to share a little bit about what I could support you with this year when it comes to actually putting in the best possible programs in your mind. And I have gone to huge lengths to develop what I'm about to share with you. And it can, again, allow you to take control of the programs that are going in. It can allow you to take control of the conversation. It can allow you to reset your nervous system so you're not in resistance to life. You're actually connected to what is most inspiring to you. So if you've received value from this call and you're like, no, I'm good, Nash, awesome, feel free to leave right now. And I say it with so much love. Amazing. But for anyone who's interested, I'm going to share a bit about it. If it's for you, beautiful. If it's not beautiful, that's absolutely fine. It's just my job to share. It's my job to bring this medicine to people. And then from there, you can make a decision about what you want to do. So my friends, what I've got here, it is truly what I believe is the most valuable gift I can give to the world this year. Now, obviously, I'll continue to work with anyone who's interested in one-on-one in that capacity. And if you wish to do that, if you wish to find out more about my one-on-one services, you're welcome to click the link I'm going to be sharing shortly as well. But this is for anyone who is looking for some more, I guess, entry-level support. You are looking for a way to absolutely empower yourself in a very, very high level. You want to use cutting-edge strategies. You don't want to just have a heap of information that kind of pumps you up but doesn't actually produce a result. You want cutting-edge information. You want cutting-edge strategies that actually produce a result in your life. You want to give commands directly to your subconscious mind, so you're not just having to kind of trial and error your way to your next level of fulfillment in life. Now, some of you may have heard me talk about this before when it comes to subconscious reprogramming. Now, for anyone who doesn't know, your subconscious mind is running the show 95% of your life, your adult life. As children, we were in what's called theta brainwave frequency. And so our minds were incredibly impressionable. And essentially what hypnosis allows us to do is to drop back into theta. So if you learn how to drop back into theta and then you add a new program, that goes directly into your subconscious mind. Now that's one step,
But there's another step. The next step is also developing the right understanding on top of that. So the right information that's cutting edge, that's balanced information. It's not information that's lopsided, that's going to kind of get you addicted to a fantasy, or maybe focusing on a kind of life that's not really tangible for your unique mission, because I believe everyone's on a unique mission. So you need the right information that is, it can be adapted for your unique mission. So I'm very mindful of that. So there's a subconscious reprogramming. It's the right information that can actually support you on your unique mission. It's not just information that's sort of, pie in the sky, and it doesn't actually, like, it might work for some people, but not for others. I do my best to deliver trainings that you can tailor to your unique mission. So I've got that in mind. And also beyond that, we want to have a somatic release. We want to have somatic upgrade. We want to make sure the energy in the body is actually optimized as well. We really want to make sure that the emotional states we are living by are truly empowered emotional states. We're not at reaction. We're not in resistance to life. We actually cleanse out of our system any residue of past emotion that is toxic and is built up in our system. So we actually make space for that next level of abundance in whichever dimension of life you really want to master. Now, I really believe everything's touching everything. Success, true success, is not one-dimensional. So that is why I've created this brand new program. It's called the Reinvention Mastermind. It is really about that. It's about reinventing your life and mastering your mind. So as I've been speaking, you've probably been reading through this. You can see there's already a lot of value on this first page. So the monthly masterclass, if I was to be hired by an organization, I would be charging them at least $1,000 to deliver the trainings. And I've got a vault of trainings, in fact, that I've done over the years that are highly valuable on a range of different topics. So the way this works is every single month there is a different topic. And I'm going to show you the topics right here. So there's the soul, or the soul set, which is actually your sense of purpose. This could be also the spiritual dimension of life that we all have, that I believe is very important. If you don't resonate that, I'm probably not the coach for you. I do believe that there's a spiritual aspect to us, and the most spiritual thing we can do is live our purpose. Now, a lot of people are going through life feeling purposeless. So I support you in the first month, connect to your purpose, put down anything that is in the way of you living your purpose. Then we move to mindset, then we move to emotional quality and actually cleansing out, as I said, any old emotional residue that's actually not serving your greatest good. It's actually chemical residue from the past that you're dragging through your life. It's consuming energy. And so we put all that down. We have a beautiful deep purge that we do together. Then the body, we will be using things such as what's called cell command therapy. We go into career, we go into intimate relationships, family, finances, environment, discipline and self-mastery, impact and mission, surrender and trust, and learning to let go. So all of these different areas of life that I focus on are opportunities. They are like boosters on a rocket. And if you don't have one of the boosters firing, that rocket, it might get to a certain height, but it won't go as far as it could ultimately go. It might not be as powerful as it could ultimately be. And as the saying goes, any area of life that we don't empower, we will be overpowered in. So this is really a mastermind that will support you empower all the areas of your life in what I believe is the deepest level. So again, you're going to get cutting edge information in the masterclasses every single month. And these are recorded so you can watch them at your own pace, at your own leisure. Then you get a custom breathwork journey for that month. So for example, if it's the relationship month, then you'll get a custom breathwork journey on the relationship month specifically that will allow you to release any ties with past relationship, if there's past hurt, if there's whatever might be in the way of you having the greatest relationship. These are very deliberately created trainings. And also I want to share, as part of being in this group, in this first intake, depending on when you're watching this, this may not be available to you, but the part of being the first early adapters to this program, you're going to get the opportunity to send me in feedback of what you would love to experience in all these different dimensions of your life. And then I can build those into the trainings, which is really so powerful. So again, each month you will receive a masterclass on the particular topic. You'll receive a breathwork session that will allow you to have that deep internal upgrade that will make space for that next level of success in that particular area that we're focusing on for that month. You will also receive a hypnosis recording that you can listen to every single day and put programs directly into your subconscious mind that will support you and clean out any residue of past programming that's trying to pull you in another direction. And along with that, you'll also get workbooks every single month that really allow you to plan out, to map out, to really connect with the highest vision for that area of life. Everything's touching everything. So you can see the total value of this. If I was to do this one-on-one or be hired by an organization, this training would be at least $1,000. This is at least what I charge one-on-one for my clients when they hire me. I work with some very, very high-level individuals, and this is my prices last year. My prices have actually gone up this year, and they'll continue to do so as the demand for my work increases. So you can see the total value of that for 1 month is $1,998. Now, here's what's really cool. Here's what I've done for you guys, because I really want to be of value and service this year. I've thought about how can I do this? How can I make this so affordable, so achievable for more people? So here's what I've done for you. So again, $1,998. Your investment for 1 month is just 149 Australian dollars. Yes, that is a crazy, crazy savings. I can't work out that maths in my head, but it's a mind-blowing number. This is a limited time offer. We are kicking off on the 1st of Feb. If you're seeing this after the 1st of Feb, 2023, you will be paying the $179. Unfortunately, you didn't catch it before that, but however, that is still, as you can see, a massive, massive discount you're still receiving for so much value. This stuff changes lives, guys. Now, beyond that, if you don't just want to trial it for 1 month, because depending on when you join, if you join in the relationship month, you get access to the relationship training for that month, you get access to the relationship breathwork session, you get access to the relationship hypnosis session for that 1 month, for the 30 days. Now, for anyone who loves the sound of this, and you can actually see the benefit to having this full upgrade this year in all the key dimensions of your life, then I've got something very special for you. So the market value of this program, if I was to take that $1,998 and times it by 12, I'm no maths teacher, but that sum would be 23,000 plus. Now, for the 12-month investment, for anyone who's willing to pay up front, you're only going to pay $1,100. This is Australian dollars. And you're saving well over $600 there, as opposed to doing it month to month. So again, I've tried to make this so achievable for everyone. I've pulled out every stop this year. I sat down at the beginning of this year and I was like, I want to be of service. I want to impact as many lives as humanly possible. So this is what I've created for you. I will be pouring my heart into every single one of these trainings. And here's the kicker, guys. If you are doing these, if you do it for 30 days and you're like, no, this isn't for me. You know, after 30 days, if I can see that you've given it a great go, and I can see that you've completed all of the work and you've completed the sessions you've attended and you've completed the workbooks, I'm going to refund your money. If you come to me like, no, this isn't cracking it, Nash. I am not offended. I want you to be completely satisfied with this. So a full money back guarantee. Now, believe it or not, I do want to even make this more sweet for you. There is a next level to this. Again, my drive to be of service this year is extremely high. It's always been high, but this year in particular, I'm finding ways to add even more value to people. And again, I need to stop working with so many clients one-on-one. And so this is why I'm making these offers available for more people and making it more achievable. My one-on-one rates are only going up and up and up as I work with many more high performers, businesses, and I want to continue to be able to share my work with the masses. So that's why I'm making this as achievable as possible. But you've got to believe in yourself. You've got to back yourself, and you've got to step. You've got to get off the fence. It is up to you. I've done my part. This is as good as I can give it to you. I'm practically, giving you this stuff. I've invested over $300,000 in my personal growth over the years. And this is just, you're getting some of the best bits of that delivered to you in the most powerful way possible. Simple, effective. That's what my intention is. So I've got a question for you. How would you like to receive all of this program for free? Where am I going with this? You might be wondering. So let me show you how you can get this for free. And hold on to your seats because it gets crazy. Some of you may have heard that I've got an online academy. The online academy is called the Unshakable Academy. So moving into the future, when clients come to me for one-on-one coaching, I'm going to most often, I will still take a select few of one-on-ones, but for the majority, I'm going to be encouraging everyone who applies to work with me to do this program first, because without this is the foundational information that I believe every single one of us needs. It's the information that has impacted my life in the most profound ways. It is the best bits of what I've seen make the greatest difference for my clients. And it's delivered in a group setting. And that way I can actually make it more achievable for people. So as I said, as part of being in the Unshakable Academy, you're going to get access to this 12 months of all of these trainings totally free. If you can't see the value in this yet, then I don't know what else to do, guys. Like, honestly, hopefully you could see how much I've poured into this, and hopefully beyond that, you can just see the value in this. So this is the Unshakable Academy 2.0. So what's included in it? Well, there's so much included in it, and I could probably be here for a couple of hours talking about it. So I'm going to skim this. And what I'll say is, if you want to take advantage of this offer, then please fill out the application below. I'm actually going to put an application, depending on when you're watching this. If you're watching this for the live peeps on this call, you're going to get access to the links there in the chat. If you're watching the recording of this, they will be in an email that you'll receive beneath this recording, or in an email you'll receive after completing this training, that you can take advantage of. Now, this is a group container. It goes for 3 months. So you'll have 3 months with the in-person touch points with me. So what's included in it? It's ultimately to support you become the most unshakable version of yourself, to stand in your truth, to stand in your purpose, and to truly bring your gifts to the world on the highest level. It's to actually support you get big things done. It's to support you shift from actually talking and thinking about what you would ultimately love to experience to actually supporting you step into them. I like to call this an online boot camp. I bring elements of what I learned in the military. And when I joined the military, I saw the power in having the right environment, the right support, and the right amount of challenge. And so I do my best to bring all of those things, all of those dynamics into the academy. I walked in to Kapuka, which is where we do our basic soldiers training here in Australia. I walked into Kapuka, a very scared young guy, and I marched out a soldier. And I was along with a platoon of over 50 individuals, and I saw the transformation they had. Not everyone made it through. Not everyone could cut it. However, I saw the power, again, of the right support, the right challenge, and the right structure. All of these things allow individuals to access something new within themselves. So I know the power of it now. It's not quite as intense as the training I went through, let me say. And again, you can take this depending on whether or not your goal is to have a greater relationship and you just want to learn how to put down the stuff that's getting in the way. You want to upgrade your self-worth. You want to believe in yourself. You actually want to learn to connect with what you're capable of. I say that our potential is a bit like having this incredible race car. And we've got this race car, and the last thing you want to do is keep that beautiful, incredibly powerful race car tucked away in a shed all the time, covered up. I had an Italian uncle who used to actually do this. Occasionally you want to get that race car and you want to put it out on the track and see what it's capable of. See what it's capable of. Sometimes we need to put ourselves in environments to see what we're capable of. And when we do this, it stretches our belief of what we know to be true about ourselves. You will be supported. Take action. You'll be supported to get in the game on a greater level than ever before, whatever that means for you. Again, I don't do one-dimensional success. Success to me is holistic. So there's a lot in this, and I'm going to scroll through this again. This is our process. We focus on resetting the mind, resetting the body, the nervous system, and you will up level in your health. I guarantee if you're part of this and you stay committed to it, you will tap into new levels in your health. If you really commit, perhaps like never before, if you really embrace what I teach in this, you can become unrecognizable to the person you are, you were when you began. I really believe that's possible. And I've seen that happen. So we focus on resetting, we focus on reprogramming on a high level, we focus on realigning, connecting to your unique vision. It's very clear, mapped out. And then we focus on reinventing your life. You will come out with new habits, you'll come out with new daily practices, you'll come out with a new belief in yourself and what you're capable of achieving in your life. This is for people who want to impact the world in a meaningful way. And you know, in order to do that, you must be showing up as the highest version of yourself. You understand that you can't lead other people somewhere where you're not willing to go first. That is who the Academy's for. So each week, let me just say this first of all, each week you're going to receive a new call, and the calls are tailored to the group. Again, the 12-month program I spoke about previously, that's already set. The Unshakable Academy, there are topics for each week based on the resetting, the reprogramming, the realigning, the reinventing. But you are actually working with me one-on-one. You're going to get live feedback from me. We'll talk about your goals. We'll brainstorm. I'll be there supporting you. If there's a little speed bump that you're hitting along the way, you're finding that there's stuff coming up for you as you try and step in or you're stepping in, I'm there to support you. I'm there to support you break through in the moment so you can stay in momentum for a consistent period of time. That's what this is about. And what a powerful, powerful way to start your new year. So as you can see here, there's a lot of value in all of this. If I was to combine the Unshakable price, like the true value of it, and combine it with all of the other trainings I've mentioned that you're going to get for free, it's over $6,000, $788. Your investment today is just 2,997 Australian dollars. It is a crazy price. I can't recall if I already said in this training or not, but my business coach would probably kick me if he saw me doing this. But for me, this is so much more than just, financial return for me, even though it's important. I value my work so much. This is about making this work accessible so we can raise the consciousness of the world. We can raise more leaders. We can have a more empowered world. People can start to take their power back. That's what's required. We've all felt the effects of the past few years. We need leaders. We need empowered people. And as Robin Sharma says, why wait for a hero when you have it within you to become one? So that is what it's about. This is about becoming the hero of your own journey. If this resonates, please go ahead, click one of the links, either trialing out the Reinvention Mastermind for 1 month. That's perfect if that's for you. Jumping on, rocking it with me for 12 months. It's going to be very, very powerful. Or ultimately, jump in the Unshakable Academy. This kicks off the 1st of February. This is a limited time offer. I do select everyone who's part of this container very deliberately, because this is a little community. This is where we've got each other's backs. This is a place where you will be held, you will be called forward, you will be challenged, you will be supported, and you will be encouraged to play at a level perhaps far greater than anything you've ever thought possible. So if this sounds of value to you, definitely take action now. Life rewards action takers. I remember when I was around 20 years old, I was at that crossroad of investing with my first mentors. And I'm not saying this is your first personal development program, but back at early 20s, that was my first. And I was going to put down close to $30,000 to work with some particular mentors who I believed would really support me in a powerful way. And they did. They truly did. But I get how it can be standing at that crossroad where you know within yourself that this is the right thing to do. You know that this is the thing that would move you forward. And I also get the fear. What I can say I am so grateful for in my life is that I backed myself. I backed myself. It's interesting. You see these races like horse races and things like that, dog races, other betting. People go and bet on this random shit in life, but they rarely actually back themselves. You are the ultimate investment. If you're not willing to invest in yourself, then don't expect other people to invest in you in the form of giving you the love that you ultimately deserve and giving you the attention, and don't expect yourself to ultimately experience great rewards if you're not willing to say, hey, I am worth it. I'm worth pouring into, because without you, you're the common denominator of all the success you'll experience in your life. Without you at your best, then how can you make the greatest choices for your life? How can you actually choose where to invest your energy in order to experience a rich quality in all the dimensions of life? I hope this is something that speaks to your heart. If it is, get off the fence, take action, and let's make this the best year of your life so far. I trust that this will bless your life in some way. A couple of things before I go into Q&A, guys. I saw this post from this guy called Jack Delosa, who's a very successful entrepreneur. He's actually just bought an island, which is kind of giving you some indication of his level of success. So he said something really interesting. He said, if you start at the beginning of the year and you start with $1, putting it in an account, and you double that $1 every single day for a year, so you double it every single day, double the amount, you would end up at the year, if you started at the beginning of the year, you'd end up with $1,073,742,000. Now, we also shared if you waited just 8 days, you would end up with 8.3 million. So that's from 1 billion to 8.3 million because of the power of compound interest and compounding habits. So every single day, the truth is we're becoming better at something. We are compounding something. Something is stacking up. We're all becoming better at something every single day. And the question is what? So this new year's off and up and running, and you're all on the path. And the opportunity you have this year is to make something spectacular of this year. This can be the year where you reset the bar, where you redefine what success looks like in your life and ultimately experience fulfillment like never before. And I really hope that you give yourself permission to do that. And if I can support you in any way, it would be my greatest honor. And this is the work that I've been called to do, and I continue to do. And if it's not you, then it's not for you, then I totally respect that. But if it is for you, if you're getting a little tap on the shoulder, if you're getting the nudge, and maybe you've just got a lot of questions, Cassie will put a link there if you haven't already, my love, just to apply for the, oh, Cassie's put it there, beautiful. If you want to be part of the Unshakable Academy, just apply for that one. I've been very honest about the investment up front. That is what it is. You can hopefully see the value in it. And you just if you've got questions and you're like, yeah, I'm really quite interested about that. Like, I've not explained it very elegantly on here because I don't like to sit here and just like try and sell and do all the tactics. I'm just like, this is what it is. I'm pretty straight shooter like that. That is what it is. If you feel genuinely called to it, let's have a conversation. Let's make something work. The truth is, at the end of this year, guys, we're going to stand there. Like there's two versions of us waiting at the end of this year. At the end of this year, they're standing on the finish line of 2023 to 2024. And there's one version of you who didn't go all in on life this year, who didn't really knuckle down and get those things done, who didn't free themselves from any just unnecessary baggage or anything like that. And then there's a version of you who stepped in. And you will get to be either one of those. And it's up to you to decide. It's up to you to be led by one or the other. And know that every single day you are feeding one or the other. So I know I'm a little direct, but again, having the experience I've been blessed to have, I feel like it's necessary. And I'm sending you all so much love, so much gratitude. Thank you for being here.